Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Walls. Welcome back to a new update video on the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well, and no football this weekend once again, but we are back in action on Tuesday, of course. Over the next few days, we'll be out with the match preview and so on for the game against West Ham United. But just a little update video with the internationals ending, what's been going on over the last few days or so, as always. And big news today is that Jean-Ricner Bellegarde has been nominated for the Premier League Player of the Month award for March. Now, obviously, there wasn't that many games throughout March, but yeah, 2 games for Jean-Ricner Bellegarde and 3 assists. So it's been a really, really productive month for him. Probably got a chance of winning it. He's up against some decent players, though, the likes of Bruno Fernandes. May well edge it, to be fair, just with the popularity of him. But it's been a really productive month, an actually productive couple of months for Jean-Ricner Bellegarde, a player who probably in January I would have classed as no more than a squad player. He's come on leaps and bounds under Vitor Pereira, become one of the more pivotal players, really stepped up. Gully actually did a video on our channel a few days ago on the impact that Andre, João Gomez and Jean-Ricner Bellegarde are having on the team. But fair play to him. I really hope that he can, push on and potentially win that award. That'd be fantastic for him and, of course, the club as well. But a huge achievement to be nominated this month for that. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, the internationals are now over. I would say this is probably being one of the more productive international breaks, probably the most that I can remember whilst being a Wolves fan. Of course, back in the days of League One and Championship, you probably don't get too many international call-ups. And since we've been back in the Premier League, we get more and more and more. But in terms of output and goals, I think I mentioned it on the last update video that I did. Obviously, Marshall Monetti had scored. Matt Doherty had scored. I will probably miss some players out as well here because there was definitely another one. Huang had scored, sorry. And then more recently, Tawanda Chirewa, who's out on loan, had scored. Carlos Forbes and Fabio Silva had scored for the Portugal under-21s. And Mateus Cunha grabbed a goal for Brazil. I think it was his first senior Brazil goal. However, it was a heavy defeat for them against Argentina. But Andre, João Gomez and Mateus Cunha all playing a really big part in that game. Cunha playing the majority of the match. Andre getting a good 70 to 80 minutes. João Gomez playing the entirety of the second half. It's crazy to think. I think in that squad, Wolves have as many players as Real Madrid do in that Brazil squad. And look, the Brazil national team probably isn't at the levels that it used to be, but it's really impressive, and I'm really happy. People can slate the recruitment of this football team, and of course they have made mistakes. But under the current recruitment policy, under the current guys that run our recruitment, they were the ones, i.e. Matt Hobbs was the one that brought in Mateus Cunha. He brought in Andre. He brought in João Gomez. Let's just remember that. But in terms of goal getting, it's been really, really productive from a Wolves point of view. Now, in terms of the internationals coming back, Sarr, Semedo and Doherty were back yesterday in training. Nasser Giga, Rodrigo Gomez and Carlos Forbes were back today. The rest of them, so the Brazilian boys, a couple of the guys that are playing in Africa right now, will be back tomorrow. But they'll have the full weekend and Monday to train and hopefully prepare for Tuesday against West Ham, which is hopefully going to be a chance for Wolves to get some more points on the board and creep even closer to Premier League safety. Quickly move on to some rumours before we finish off as well. That Wolves have been linked with the 18-year-old Olympiacos defender Christos Mouzakitis. Mouzakitis is probably the better way to say it, to be honest. Young player, really, really highly rated. Of course, going to be so many other teams interested in him. When players are linked from Olympiacos, it's quite difficult because, of course, they're owned by the same ownership as Nottingham Forest. So any player, especially when or if Forest get into Europe, any player with a bit of talent more than likely is going to move on to Nottingham Forest. But a player maybe we keep our eye on. But as of right now, I think it's unlikely that Wolves will pursue this transfer, to be honest. And Pablo Sarabia as well, of course, contract up at the end of the season. It's going to be, the stories now in the next couple of weeks are probably going to be him and Nelson Semedo. Where are these two players going to be ending up? Now, with Pablo he was linked last week with two Spanish teams, Sevilla and Celta Vigo, both heavily interested in him. But now other reports from Spain are suggesting clubs in Saudi Arabia and the MLS over in the US are also interested and hoping that a higher salary may well tempt him to move away from the big leagues in Europe. So depends. Again, I think I said a similar thing to Semedo. Do you want to win trophies? Do you want to stay where you are because you're happy? With Sarabia, I think he'll go just because of the wage he's on. But I just don't know. It's interesting because I think he's played in every game this year in some capacity. He's either started or come off the bench, which is crazy to think. I wouldn't have ever thought that. I'm sure I read that the other day that he's played in every single game so far this year. But I just don't think he's had the impact. Good player, I think you can see that, but not had the impact probably that Wolves would desire from a player, especially earning the amount of money that Pablo is currently at the football club. But that is all, guys, for today's update video. As always, be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. Be back in a couple of days' time with the match preview. And, of course, if any other big news happens in the meantime, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. As always, hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one.